The Miami Dolphins still have one glaring problem after the 2025 NFL draft. What's the plan for life after Jalen Ramsey at cornerback? We're going to discuss that, and I'm going to give my top targets for the Miami Dolphins in the second wave of free agency after the draft. We're going to talk about all that and much more. Plus, it's always a good day when you find out the Miami Dolphins got the better of an AFC East rival. So we're going to talk about that and so much more. Do me the favor, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score!
Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's going to be a touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one as our draft coverage continues, because now we got to go over the post-draft needs and the post-draft free agent targets. We're doing that right away. We ain't wasting some time. We're also going to have prospect profiles coming. I'm going to be doing Kenneth Grant, 110%. I'm going to be doing Jonah Savaiinaea, sorry. So you see the other way. We'll be doing him. Okay, I'm going to be doing Ollie Gordon. I'm going to be doing Quinn Ewers. And I'm going to pick one more. So I'm going to do at least minimum 5 prospect profiles. What those is for people that are new around here. I'm going to give you in-depth scouting reports. How the player fits. Okay, the projection for the player at the NFL level. As well as there's going to be like about 10 minutes of all 22 of said player, whoever it is. So those are usually good ones. We've been doing them every year since we've had the channel after we draft players. I mean, you can go back, you can find them on Robert Hunt, you can find them on Liam Eichenberg, you can find them on anyone that we've drafted. So, yeah, we're going to be getting into those. I'm also going to be bringing on some people post-draft to get their thoughts on the draft, all right? Now, for this offseason, still working it out. The show with me, Richmond, and Ballgame right now, we're just working out probably through the offseason a new day and time, just because Wednesdays, me and Doug have the starting lineup going right now. And we're eventually going to launch that into its own channel. And when we do that, all right, then, you know, I'll be back Wednesday nights here with me, Richmond, and Ballgame. So just figuring stuff out, just doing a little house cleaning, you know what it is. Housekeeping and house cleaning. So, listen. Something I didn't cover, I didn't have a chance to talk about. Emmanuel Ogbah went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Emmanuel Ogbah will not be returning to the Miami Dolphins this offseason. You know, he's stuck around. He's been a good soldier. That time is done. The time has come and gone. And I just want to salute Ogbah for being a good soldier, for constantly contributing, and for being a positive influence and a positive factor on this team. Especially recently when there's been so many distractions and so many non-positive influences going on at the team, on the team right now. You know what I mean? So I do want to shout Emmanuel Ogbah out right now. We got over 200 of you in the chat right now. Appreciate you, Kyle. Yo, I've had this hat for like 20 years, bro. 20 years. You wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know it. Okay, so here we're gonna go. 5 minutes. All right. I will give you quick fire draft Q&A coming off the draft. You ask them in the chat. I will answer them before we start getting into the topics. I think we did this last year too. We'll do it for like 5 or 10 minutes. If you've got any draft Q&As, hit the chat up. I see it. I'll post it. I'm not going to get through every question, but post it and I'll answer it the best of my ability. So, all right. Because, hey, I know there's going to be a lot of questions about what we are moving forward. You know what I mean? I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for coming through. So, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Jonah Savaiinaea, man, when I was hyping Jonah Savaiinaea, I saw people coming out with articles about how he might not be a fit. And I was like, what are these people talking about? Tell me you haven't watched this kid play. Tell me you didn't watch this kid play. You know what I mean? Like, all right. Did Texas run any plays similar? Well, yeah, they ran, options, RPOs, but they're a pro style, and Ewers worked mainly out of a gun too. So, I don't know if they ran a cheat motion. I haven't looked into that. How much influence do I think? I think Champ Kelly definitely was getting his hands dirty. I think he's going to be a bigger part of this front office than people give it credit for or expect him to be. I'll give you a couple. I think there's going to be a couple that make the roster, man. I honestly think there's going to be a couple. I think lock it in. My UDFA lock to make the roster is Jalen Connors from Texas Tech. He's making this roster. Eugene Asante, I think he's got a good chance, right? That's a really good athlete, and you can move on from that good old boy Channing Tindall. I think wide receiver is going to be very interesting. Andrew Armstrong, Theo Weiss Jr. Andrew Armstrong, I like him from Arkansas. I like the upside there. Eric Ezukanma, man. I think Eric Ezukanma's got the coaching. He's got the environment. I think this has just come down to the player now. There's got to be a certain point where you start to look at the player. And I'm looking at the player now. And your days are marked, brother, when Andrew Armstrong walks in that room. And if you keep going the way you are, it's going to be even more numbered with Theo Weiss. I think BJ Adams has a chance with how weak the corner room is right now. They brought him in on a 30 visit. BJ Adams, pretty good player. I'll give you an O-line, 2 O-line guys. Addison West, I like because, I liked Andrew Meyer last year. Addison West, what in terms of depth in front of him, what does he really have to battle? So that's an interesting one to me. And I know I only gave him a B-, but it's because of how they brought in Borum. They love Lee Meikenberg. I could see them, cutting this guy, but I gave him a B- because I do like his upside and I think he's a good athlete. Josh Preby. Josh Preby out of Michigan, the guard we brought in from Michigan, he interests me. I think he could be a little bit intriguing like how Andrew Meyer was for us last year. Now, what's going to hold him back is he doesn't have the experience or the reps that Borum and Eichenberg have. But if you want to lock, Jalen Connors. But I like Eugene Asante, Andrew Armstrong, Theo Weiss, BJ Adams, Josh Preby. I even like John Sanders. I already said this, Now I know politics will come in because it's been a draft pick. But John Sanders, I might like that. And it's not that I like the player better. It's I like the value better. I might like the signing of John Sanders as a UDFA better than spending the pick we spent on Dante Trader, given what was on the board at the time at safety, at corner, and even double dipping at guard. So, I'm just saying value. I might end up liking John Sanders. We got to see how it goes. It's the reason why they're UDFAs, right? Yeah, I'm not giving anything more than that. Can I just say this, though? Let me just say this. Why aren't we celebrating Cam going number 1 after what he went through? What a story Cam Ward has. The transfer portal, how he played last year. He carried that Miami team. And the ACC is much tougher. He faced much tougher competition than Shedeur in Colorado. But why are we celebrating more Cam going number 1? I saw a clip today. Cam's out here. It was Cam and Shedeur working together. Shedeur, after a couple reps, goes and gets water. Cam starts harping on him. Says, we've only done a couple reps. You want to go get some water? We're working here. And I've heard Cam say before, I want to be known for football. I want to be known. Like, Cam Ward is a stud. Cam Ward has that DNA in the fourth quarter that I don't care if the quarterback is black, white, purple, brown, yellow, green, rainbow. I don't care what. He has got that. Cam Ward has that winner's DNA that so many quarterbacks wish they had and so few do have. Now, is he a little lackadaisical because protection was great in front of him? Sure. But that'll change real quick at the next level. But man, I think Cam's got that winner's DNA. And I think, mark my words. Okay? He's going to be the best Tennessee Titan quarterback since Steve McNair, and he's probably going to be better. Mark my words on that. Celebrate Cam. Don't talk about a guy falling to the 5th round all weekend. That's my opinion. Anyways, whatever. It is what it is. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Because were you flexing Kohu? You flexing Kohu out to the boundary? If you're flexing Kohu out to the boundary, okay. And they're, I like projected opposite Ramsey. There is no opposite Ramsey in Miami. Brother, there ain't no opposite of Ramsey. It ain't happening, brother. He's gone. Oh, he's gone. I like that, though. That's a good question. All right, sorry. I might have missed some picks here. Let me see here. Yeah, I think we all do. It is what it is, Yeah, but I don't know why people are surprised about this. Listen to me. I've been telling all y'all this. Terran Armstead. What is he? Athletic. Right? Connor Williams, when they brought him in here, what is he? Athletic. Aaron Brewer, what is he? Athletic. I've been telling you, look at free agency. This is why I've been talking about. There's a contrasting philosophy right now going on. Patrick Paul does not meet the athletic profile of the guys they were clearly targeting. I don't know why people are shocked by this. I've been telling all of y'all this. And I'm not talking about you, Pat. I'm just talking about in general. Because I saw some people on X. Oh, here's a tidbit. He has the best run. Blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, how do you not see this happening? How do you not see this change happening with what they want to do? You need that athleticism. You need that. Why? Because of the speed. You need athletic guys. This is why I was telling all y'all they wouldn't draft Tyler Booker. You can't have guys that are going to be pulling across the backside or trying to get to the second level. Then you got a guy like Achan. They're trying to pull up they're trying to pull from the guard position up to the hip of the outside hip of the tackle. Bro, by the time they get to the outside hip of the tackle, Achan gonna be 5 yards upfield if it's someone like Tyler Booker. I don't know why anyone's talking about this. I don't get this. Because I saw this on Twitter. I've been telling all y'all this was the move for how long? I don't get this. I do too. Give him some reps, man. Listen, bold take. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Hate me if you want. I don't give a crap. When you talk about operating this offense from a timing standpoint, from a structure standpoint, Quinn Ewers is going to give you that far better than Zach Wilson is. Go watch the BYU film. Go watch the New York Jets film. Tell me where you see this guy operate from structure and you feel comfortable with him operating from structure for 4 quarters in a row. He doesn't. All of his best stuff comes out of structure. Now, can Quinn get out of structure, make plays and extend? Yes, we've seen it. But he operates best from where? Short to intermediate level, in structure, and can attack the middle of the field. And he's got enough drive and velocity on the short to the intermediate that he'll threaten tight windows. He'll push that ball. Now, I've said this. When you start getting into the deep ball stuff, that's when you see the drive and the velocity dip. That's when you see the accuracy dip. I can't tell you how many times, I had chopping up Golden film or whoever watching Matthew Golden, watching Isaiah Bond, and they have to adjust and come back. Even with Arch Manning, too. This is why I say I don't think these people really watch Arch Manning because he's not as impressive. You're just looking at the name on the back of the jersey. He's not there yet. No way. He's no way near there yet. But yeah, if you're talking from a structure standpoint, Don, yeah. Quinn Ewers is going to be better than Zach Wilson from a structure standpoint. Super V. let me ask you this, and this goes for any of these journalists in South Florida. Would you trust any of these people in South Florida to build your roster? Please. The problem with a lot of these guys, I'm not even talking about Chris Perkins. The problem with a lot of these guys is they think because they cover football, they know football. That's the problem, okay? That's why y'all come to people like me and to people like Doug. You know, what do I say, right? Go over to Miami Herald, the Palm Beach Post, or whoever you choose. You come on over here to Reason, you're going to get the truth, right? So, okay, go to Doug before, Doug knows more football than these guys. Come to me, I know far more football than these guys. There's content. Go to Ryder, who's going to be on the channel soon, probably this week or next. Go to him. He knows football far more than those guys, okay? Please. Is there a future for Ingold here? Yeah, I think so. But, man, he doesn't look like the guy he was in 2022. That's for sure, right? That's for real sure. Come on, man. Listen, people forget. I don't know, man. Remember, I'm like, if I had to, claim loyalty to an NCAA team, I've already said this before, it'd be the Gators. I'm not sold, brother. I need to see it. He's someone I need to see it with. He had my worst draft grade. He's a little bit less of an athlete with Zoff Frazier out of UTSA, but Zoff Frazier was a better ball hawk. Zoff Frazier gave me ball production. And don't give me you went to UTSA and he went to SEC. Yeah, tell me where Tariq Woolen went. All right? Tell me where Tariq Woolen went. You go tell me. Go look that up and then come back and tell me, okay? And I'm not even saying Zoff Frazier is going to be Tariq Woolen, but let's not knock the competition. Something's translating. Tariq's a freak. So, listen, prove it to me, right? That's all I'm going to say. Listen, I don't hate picks. I don't bash picks from the 5th round and beyond. That's a big rule I have. Why? Now we're getting into glorified UDFA territory, and they're letting the scouting department work. This isn't even a Chris Greer pick, right? I go back to Patrick Morris. Wasn't a Chris Greer pick. It was a scouting department pick. You had to go back in the film and watch it, and then you saw what they saw. And we saw that when he was here. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and bash the pick. But let's be honest here. What's it really going to take to outperform Cam Smith right now? Let's be real on that one. How do I think I think I've said this before. I think Ewers could have a phenomenal camp. Guess what? Never mind Tua. He ain't going to get a fair shot at QB too. They just handed out $6 million guaranteed to Zach Wilson. You really, with a $10 million guaranteed upside, you really think they're about to give a fair shot to a kid they just picked in the 7th round? Even if I was right in reporting to all you guys months ago that I knew for a fact he was enamored with him at last year's Texas Pro Day. Even if the enamourment's there. Politics as usual come into play, baby. Y'all know how business works. That's what it is. Any possibility we make a trade? We got an extra 3rd, but that's probably too high. I'll tell you right now. With his injury history, I'll call them. You want Ramsey for Jair straight up? Yeah, Don knows what's up. He's okay. Listen, you can't call him a ball hawk, but, good click and close speed, recovery ability, can close on the pursuit, and he can get a hand on the ball and break it up and defend the pass. He's physical at the catch point, physical through the stem when he can get a hands on him. But, I mean, I'm not expecting very much, That's just it. I would have put him, I would have drafted Willie Lampkin just to have him as a backup guard and center. Yes, I have. I'm already pretty deep on. I think Lenore Sellers, if I were him, I wouldn't come out next year. Take another year. I'd come out, if he takes another year and comes out with Arch and he comes out with Nico, which I think Nico, I don't know how that's going to go. But yeah, I think Nussmeier's the one that's going to take the leap. Drew Aller. There's a bunch of good, it's actually a good class. I've already started watching. I think I'm 15 or 20 deep. I've already watched a bunch of them, right? I watched Nussmeier all year, either way, you know what I mean? So I've already watched a bunch of them, but the guy I really like is Aiden Childs. If you haven't had a chance to watch him, check out Aiden Childs. He's pretty good. And I know John Mateer's pretty high on people. I have a couple I don't know where they are, but I have a couple Cade Klubnik like autos, on-card autos from Bowman. So Miller Moss is going to come out. I'm not high on Carson Beck. He sounds like he's going to be a headache with all of his issues. So I don't know. Is Connor Wegman going to take another jump for Texas A&M? It's an interesting class next year. Like if Nussmeier takes a jump, if Aller takes a jump, if Wegman takes a jump, if Sellers takes a jump, if Childs takes a jump, it's a stacked class next year. Like, it is a stacked class. Even you got Taylon Green, I think, is coming out next year. I think Jalen Daniels from Kansas will come out next year. And who else that I was... Oh, yeah. Noah Fafita from Arizona will come out next year, too, probably. So, there's a lot of guys in that class next year. All right, let's get into this. We got a lot to go over here, okay? We got a lot to go over here. So, Garrett Nussmeier's dad just got made the OC in New Orleans. He's the Saints OC. He used to be a quarterback in the NFL. He was drafted to the NFL. Nussmeier's bloodline. I think he's going to take like a Joe Burrow type of leap this year too. All right, so let's get into this. I want to start off with some real good news for all of you Finn fans. All right. And you know, before we even get to my top free agent targets, newsflash, X ain't going to be on that. A year out of football, please. Here's a report from Greg A. Bedard. Now, you're going to say, okay, Reason, who is Greg A. Bedard and why aren't you quoting from the article? Because A, the article is behind a paywall. All right. And Greg A. Bedard, he writes for the Boston Sports Journal. Okay. So this is basically, you know, a Boston account, which is Savage Sports, had access to it and put it out there. So per Greg A. Bedard, the other players the Patriots are considering taking at 38 overall was Jonah Savaiinaea from Arizona. He ended up getting drafted at 37 by the Dolphins, who traded up to get in front of the Patriots. Oh, baby. Come on. How can you not love this pick anymore right now? Let's go. Huh? Let's go. Listen, I think people have already got it wrong. I'm going to tell you this right now because I already see people projecting him to left guard. Now, could they put him to left guard? 110%. I don't think they're going to. You know, me and Kyle talked about this on our pre-draft show, and I think it's spot on. You know, it makes more sense that they are going to go ahead and they're just going to stick the veteran James Daniels next to Patrick Paul and put Jonah Savaiinaea, keep him on the right side where he's most comfortable, and stick him next to Austin Jackson. Like that way Patrick Paul isn't on an island by himself. Austin has a veteran to lean on. You know, I think that's the best idea moving forward, at least for year one. I think that's what's going to happen. And Skunk Ape says, you know, he's going to transition to right tackle once Jackson's contract comes up. Skunk, let me tell you something. Now do you see why I didn't want... Listen, I thought they were going to touch Tua's contract, but what did I say? I don't want to touch Tua or Austin Jackson's. Austin Jackson stays healthy less than Tua. But now they're on the hook for $16 million next year for that guy. He better stay healthy. That's all I know. He better stay healthy. Or I'm driving to Miami and I'm having a talk with Austin Jackson. I'm sitting him down. And when we're figuring something out. Holy jeez. You know, like... This is why, because if you draft someone with right tackle flexibility, remember, that's why I wanted Armand Membo before the combine happened, and it was realistic he might be there at 13. I wanted someone that could play right guard in year one, get the feel, get the vibe, right? And if they stick, they stick. And if Austin Jackson stays healthy, great, stick. But if Austin Jackson goes down, this guy gives you flexibility to kick out there. Now, we now get into the point, though. What do I hate with young kids? I hate when we do it all the time, where we got them jumping around, and you got to play here one game, then here one game, and, you know, let these kids settle in. And I will say this. Come on. If we stay healthy, Paul, Daniels, Brewer, Savaiinaea, Jackson. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, especially when we run in screens and we get in Savaiinaea and Jackson out in the open field on that right side. Oh, my God. Whoo! We're going to be killing people. Oh, man. Oh. It's just exciting to think about. I tell you that much. Just got to stay healthy. But at least, listen, obviously Patrick Paulus and Teron Armstead, but at least we don't have the worry of, hey, is this guy only going to play 12 games? At least we don't have that worry hanging over our head right now. But that offensive line, I'm telling you people, that offensive line, when it's healthy, it's going to be top 15 flirting with top 10. It's going to be, if it's healthy. If it's healthy. Now, we're going to get into my free agent list in a bit here, but go get contingency plans. Make sure we're taken care of. No, Chris, I don't think Ewers is going to be given a fair competition at QB2 because of Zach Wilson's guaranteed money. I think politics will come into play. I think he should be, but I don't think he will. Not in year one. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, I would be, this offensive line, when it's healthy, man, this thing might be good. If James Daniels looks like the guy, more like the guy he was before he got hurt, and not so much like a guy who you can tell is recovering from a lower extremity injury, oh my God. And this isn't just for Tua's sake, and I've said this the whole time about fixing the line. This isn't just for Tua. This is for Achane. This is for Jalen Wright. This is for Ollie Gordon now. This is for Alexander Madison. This is for Tyreek Hill if he's still here. This is for Jonnu Smith. This is for Jalen Waddle. Tua's going to have more time to make his full field reads and progressions. Not going to be forced to get the ball out with an internal clock of 2.2 seconds. Okay? So receivers will benefit from that. And we're going to have some run blocking. I mean, I talk about this all the time. The last time we had the projected starting five when the season opened, healthy for a game, was Denver Broncos 2023. And we all remember what happened. 70 points. Thank you very much. And guess what? I called that Isaiah Wynn was going to be a left guard when everyone was like, oh, in the media. This is why I say don't listen to these people. Oh, he's going to be a right tackle. Oh, they were even arguing with us and putting it out there. And then where did he end up? Left guard. First year left guard. Hadn't played it since college. What happened? Stud when he was healthy. Right? Raheem Mostert didn't have a 100-yard rushing game after Isaiah Wynn went down. Him and Connor Williams were the cogs to that running game wheel. But now that interior, James Daniels, Aaron Brewer, Jonah Savaiinaea. I'm going to tell you this, guys. I want you to listen to me with Jonah Savaiinaea, and I want you to listen to me closely. He has a higher ceiling than Robert Hunt. Is he going to hit it? I don't know. But I told all of you, Robert Hunt was a Pro Bowl, All-Pro right guard as soon as we drafted him. When we were on the Tuesday night panel, when we were live for the draft, and on this channel. Because Robert Hunt was someone me and EM Dolphin fan talked about on the night before the draft, when we did our mock draft, as someone that would make a lot of sense for us, and he was a good fit, and they ended up drafting him the next day. Savaiinaea is a better athlete. Oh, sorry, I keep saying Savaiinaea. Savaiinaea is a better athlete, okay? He's a better athlete. He's a better mover. And he's faced better competition. Now, I'm not knocking Robert Hunt. Not at all, because he ended up being up to that standard. But he came from the Sun Belt. So, let's remember this. This is a good pick. And the fact that we beat a rival, because let me tell you this. Shout out to you, Scotty Joe. Let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. You go look at the Rich Hill chart, the Jimmy Johnson chart. On one chart, we won that trade by a point. On the other chart, we lost that trade by only 3 points, okay? So it was a fair trade, either way you slice it. What would you rather have made? A fair trade to go up and get your guy in terms of they showed their conviction. We've been begging them for years to fix the offensive line. We've always talked about go trade and go up and get your guy. Now, they missed on Liam Eichenberg. We all know that. But I didn't like, go back and watch the live stream. I didn't like the Liam Eichenberg pick as soon as they took it. I didn't like it. Dante Colonelli was, hyping it up. And I was saying, this ain't a good pick. But anyways, especially because I knew Creed Humphrey was on the board. And that was my target at the time. Anyways, point I'm saying here is we've been begging them to do this, to be aggressive. They did it. They went up and got a guy who now we're looking at this offensive line as, oh my God, if it stays healthy, we got something. We're cooking here. Now, that's how much that one pick changed the outlook of our offensive line. Because now we're comfortable. Daniels, the veteran, can go next to the rookie, and the rookie can be next to the veteran on the right side. We're comfortable now. Beautiful. Would you have rather had that, or would you have rather watch the New England Patriots draft Will Campbell, then follow that up with Jonah Savaiinaea? Then they turned around, and I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, are they not the team that drafted Jared Wilson, the top center in the draft from Georgia? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure they took Jared Wilson. I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. But look, what would you have rathered of? Them still having a little bit of a void, or them having 3 legitimate foundational pieces? Yeah, and they took my boy, Kyle Williams from Washington. What would you have rather seen? No. We stopped that, and we went up and got our guy. So, I'm just saying. Go out and get your guy, man. Go out and get your guy. That's all I know. So, all right, now I wanted to show this because one of these players was in Neil's mock draft. The Miami Dolphins, they handed out some tryout invitations to Miami receiver Sam Brown and center Zach Carpenter, because that rookie minicamp is coming up on May 9th and 10th. So there we go. And I know he was a guy that Neil was really high on as a late pick. I thought he'd get drafted too. I didn't think Sam Brown would still, be available as well. I didn't think there was a couple. I didn't think that'd be like Kobe Bryant going as a UDFA was wild to me. It was absolutely wild to me that he went as a UDFA. But man, Sam Brown ran a 4.44 at the combine. So, he's got some interesting athletic traits to him. I like his game's all right too, man. He's not a bad player at all. He's got a little bit of explosiveness to his game. He's a little bit, he's got some physicality to his game. Now, obviously, he's not a big play guy. But, I think he's got good body control, and he moves well for his size and his frame. And, listen, I look at him and I think, I think in terms of depth, I think he's a perfect addition, maybe in depth. But, man, I like Andrew Armstrong a lot. And I think Theo Weiss Jr., I like those two better, So, I think the problem with him is he needs to be refined as a route runner. And, he doesn't do a lot of the little things really well that you like to see. But it's interesting that he's coming. So, there you go. Another invite. And then the Miami Dolphins did sign another UDFA today, in case you didn't see it. The Miami Dolphins agreed to a contract with Seyi Oladipo, 5'11", out of Boise State. Now I haven't had a chance to watch him yet, so I will let you know what I think about him coming back around. Haven't had a chance to watch him yet though. So this happened today, and I was busy today, so I haven't had a chance. I'm going to watch him tonight, so I'll give you an update in tomorrow's opening thoughts of what I think about him. But, I like what I see. Again, look at What is this? More production than Jason Marshall over here from the safety position. Holy jeez. I love it, but I'm gonna give him a watch tonight. So we'll see what it is. Weiss is good. I'm telling you, Weiss is good. Yeah, I don't like Sam Brown's shot against like Weiss and Andrew Armstrong are probably gonna beat him out. If like we're taking any of these UDFAs and any of these UDFA wide receivers are making it, I could see that, being the issue. All right, let's get into this. All right. So I want to go over my top free agent targets for the Miami Dolphins heading into the second wave of free agency post-draft. Now remember, last year when they had a deal worked out with OBJ, they had a deal worked out prior to the draft and they didn't announce it until May 3rd. Right? That's when they finally announced the actual move. So let's get into it. These are my top free agent targets for the Miami Dolphins post the 2025 NFL draft. All right? This is who I like the best. Now, you're going to sit here and say, wide receiver reason. Why is this on this list? Well, it's on this list because right now, okay, you've added Theo Weiss and Andrew Armstrong as UDFAs, but they haven't made it. Besides that, you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, D. Eskridge, Tajay Washington, Tariq Black, Eric Izukama. All of this backing up, Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook-Ikini, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. So, as far as I'm concerned, I only see 4 locks there. Keenan Allen, still a really good route runner. Elijah Moore, why not see what he has? We all remember how highly touted he was coming out in the draft. Nelson Aguilar, the guy's still going. Robert Woods, still got that long speed to stretch and a little bit of size to his game. Tyler Boyd offers you a little bit more of size out of the out of the slot position than Malik does. Now, would any of those guys be pressing for me? No. None of those guys would be pressing for me. At all. None of them. All right? So, wide receiver would be like last on my list here. All right? At tackle, Jedrick Wills and DJ Humphries. I mean, Jedrick Wills was a first-round pedigree out of Alabama. We all know what happens to players who go to Cleveland. I mean, 80% of them who get drafted by Cleveland, I mean, what do they end up being? So, as a swing tackle, let me ask you this. Would you rather just go into camp assuming Keon Smith is good enough or Larry Borum is good enough? Or would you go bring in a guy like Jedrick Wills and tell him, listen, there's a good chance Austin Jackson's going to go down. Yeah, you played left tackle over there in Cleveland, but you played right in Alabama. Go back. I'd rather, I'm trusting a guy like Jedrick Wills more than Keon Smith or Larry Borum if Austin Jackson goes down. I'm sorry. Better contingency plan, just saying. DJ Humphries, now, first of all, the tackle class is pretty thin. 31 years old. He's been a steady, decent lineman. Again, I'm only asking you to be a backup. I'm not asking you to be a starter. All right. Now, at guard, Brandon Sheriff. These are all depth options, by the way. All depth options. The only starters we need are at corner. Brandon Sheriff, yeah, a little long in the tooth, but been around the block. He's proven he's still a good player. Still a good player. You know what I mean? And you can always use mentor minds around a guy like Jonah Savaiinaea. And remember, this is a former first-round pick. Been to an All-Pro in 2020, 5-time Pro Bowler. You know what I mean? It's a good player right here. And again, Who knows what's going to happen? What if Austin Jackson goes down? Okay. Let's say you don't sign Jedrick Wills. Well, you want to kick Savaiinaea out to right tackle. Now I can slide Scherf in there right guard, and we're a little bit more comfortable. Will Hernandez, same thing. Isaiah Wynn, he's familiar. I mean, and you're not asking him to his body to take the wear and tear as a starter. Cody Whitehair, another guy who can play guard or center. He can play multiple positions along the line. And I think as a depth piece, why not? And Glowinski, a little long in the tooth. But same thing, a guy who can play guard and be a depth piece. Now, at edge, and the only reason I really have edge on here, because the only reason I have edge on here, because you notice, like, I didn't add tight end because you got Jalen Conyers. They love Julian Hill. That's probably going to be your 3. Obviously, I didn't put QB on here because we already got 3. Quinn Ewers is QB 3, right? We don't need running backs. We got Ollie. We got Madison. We obviously got Jalen Wright and Achane as well. They're not going to carry more than 4 running backs, so that would be, just redundant for me to put it on here. But at edge, a guy like Zadarius Smith, I mean, man, you're talking about, again, as a rotational piece. I'm not asking you to be a starter. I'm not asking you to take on a big-time workload. But he had 9 sacks last year, people. Oh, sorry, I apologize. My bad. I apologize. He had 4 sacks last year. He's had 9 over the last 2 years. Sorry, he had 9. He had 4 with Detroit and 5 with Cleveland. He's had 9 last year. He had 5.5 the year before and 10 the year before that in Minnesota. Obviously, we remember how good he was in 2019 and 2020. But, I mean, the guy's still producing. You wanted to add Joey Bosa, go add him for cheap. And Matt Judon, I have him on here because they've always been infatuated with Matt Judon. Also, so, I mean, that's why I put him up there. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, defensive tackle, ladies and gentlemen. It is thinner than an anorexic runway model out there when it comes to defensive tackle. Holy jeez. Okay? It is brutal. You could add any one of these guys and it wouldn't move the needle. It's not good out there. It is not good out there. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, thank God they doubled up at defensive tackle and then went and got Zeke Biggers with their last pick. It is... I had to struggle to put those 3 on here. So, yeah, it is not good. Not good at all. I don't know. That's brutal. That's look at that list. Look at that list. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not. When was Robert Woods was signed by the Steelers? When did this happen? Like, did it just happen while we were live here? Because last night he was a free agent. Oh, yep, literally a minute ago. Robert Woods was signed for $2 million. There you go. Like, literally, I'm seeing it pop up. Literally, a minute ago, Robert Woods was signed for $2 million. So there you go. Linebacker, Eric Kendricks and Devondre Campbell. Man, can I be honest with you? The downfall of Devondre Campbell needs to be studied. I mean, my Lord. Holy, what happened to that, eh? But, again, I'm depth here. I'm looking for depth. I'm not looking for anything more than depth. I'm not looking for a starter out of you. But, man, that fell off a little bit, huh? But, last year he was at San Francisco. He had 79 tackles. Obviously, he hasn't lived up to that 146 tackle 2021 year. He had 96 in 2022, but the last 2 years, his tackle numbers have dipped. But Devondre Campbell, I mean, unless he's asking an unreasonable amount of money, I mean, we could use, Tyrell Dotson wouldn't stop me from trying to upgrade. And then Eric Kendricks. I think Eric Kendricks gets way too much hate. Like, the guy's just been a solid player his whole career. Like, nothing flashy about him. He's just solid. Like, he's just solid. Like, last year, he had 138 tackles. The year before that, he had 117. The year before that, he had 137. And he gets you some sack production. I mean, I wouldn't mind Eric Kendricks. I think Eric Kendricks and Jordan Brooks would be a damn fine combo. Now, is he 33? Sure, but damn, he's still giving you good football right now. Guy was solid in Minnesota. He's been solid last year for Dallas. I don't know. And then cornerback, Asante Samuel Jr. Obviously, he'd be the top target. Is he physical enough for what they want to do? I don't know. Russell Douglas, who they've already been in contact with. Again, Asante Samuel Jr., you could at least try and pass off as a 1. When we get into Russell Douglas, you're a 2. When we get into Mike Hilton, you're a slot, and I got to kick out Kohu to the boundary. And then same with Shaq Griffin. Like, I think Asante Samuel is the only 1, and he's not even a solid 1 right now. Now, you'll see down at the bottom. Note, at cornerback, Jair Alexander, Jalen Watson, and Greg Newsome are on the trade block. Jair Alexander's a CB1. Greg Newsome, I don't think he's there yet. Obviously, the upside is high with him, but he got benched last year. But the upside is high. He's still only like 24 or 25. Jalen Watson was a 7th-round pick for the Chiefs. That's turned into an absolute stud over there. And I would reach out. About Jalen Watson. So, again, slim pickings. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. You might have to come away with 2 on that corner list. Like, I would try to trade for Jair Alexander, Jalen Watson, or Greg Newsome, and then I'd still try to sign someone from that list. Go get me Asante Samuel and Jalen Watson right now. At safety, Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon, Jordan Whitehead, Marcus Williams, Quandre Diggs. Now, Quandre Diggs was still playing really good ball, but he had a Lisfranc injury. I don't know where he is on the health standpoint right now, but he was playing some damn good ball before he got hurt. Julian Blackmon's good, but Justin Simmons, man, that's a stud too. We don't know if Melifonwu and Ashton Davis are going to stay healthy. Patrick Mahomes looked great last preseason, but then he got hurt. We don't know what he is yet against NFL competition. Elijah Campbell, is he going to ever be anything more than a special teamer? Because I'm going to tell you this much. The better you make that safety room, the less you're going to put on that corner room. And you're in a position where you got to be strategic and you got to be on point with every move you make at corner right now. Like, they do not have a lot of room for error at corner right now. I mean, just think of the depth chart at corner right now. Don't think about Jalen Ramsey because he's gone. But think about this. On the out boundary corners, Storm Duck, Cam Smith, Isaiah Johnson, Ryan Cooper Jr., Jason Marshall Jr., Ethan Bonner, BJ Adams. And then at nickel, you got Cater, Artie Burns, Jason Matry, and John Sanders Jr. Like, are we lining up to a season where we're going to be forcing Kohu out to the boundary more? I don't know, man. Like, this is kind of, like, you bet that front 7. And this is why, add an Eric Kendricks to that linebacker room and let him win the starting job next to Jordan Brooks. If you're going to be, like, listen, if you're not going to have a legitimate number one at corner right now with Ramsey off the team, that front seven, it's on its way. It's another piece. It's a linebacker away from being one of the most formidable in the AFC. And then you got to make sure that safety room is on point if you're going to bargain bin at corner. So we're going to see. I mean, it's slim pickings on the free agent market right now. There is no doubt about it. And again, like I said, I would have our top needs right now being cornerback would be one. And then I think we need safety depth. I think we need guard depth. I think we need tackle depth with a swing maybe. And I think we need some defensive tackle depth. Defensive tackle DN depth. But the glaring problem for the Miami Dolphins is, what's the plan for life after Ramsey? What is the plan? You didn't draft one. Like, high. You know? You haven't made that trade yet. You haven't made that signing yet. Now, you want my personal opinion? I think they're trying to work the trade. I think they're trying to make a trade. That's what I think they're trying to do. So, you know, I think free agency is secondary to them for cornerback. You know, I think they're looking at it and they're like, there's a better shot at adding a cornerback, a bona fide quarterback one via trade than there is on the open market right now. And then they're probably going to turn around. And that's probably why they added that extra third round pick. I don't even think it might be for next year's draft. I think they've had preliminary discussions on the cornerback market. And they have an understanding of what the price may be for some of these guys. And that's why they've gone back. And I think that's probably why they added the pick, to be honest with you, was in case they need it for a corner trade. And they're not keeping Ramsey. It's over. Listen, I was the first one to break to all of you that Ramsey and McDaniel had issues. I broke that story over, what, about 2 weeks ago now, on my Patreon and for channel members on here on YouTube. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's done. It's over, buddy. So it's irreparable. It's done. It's not happening. And that's why I think they added a third round pick, because they thought to themselves, we got to get into this corner market. This is what it might take, because corners are going to be expensive. So, now, I hope they pull one out of the bag of a team like we haven't thought of. You know? I hope so. I'm praying. Like, I know he was unhappy a couple years ago. He might be happy now, so they might not be looking to trade him. But, man, remember when J.C. Horn was unhappy and he was apparently on the block in Carolina? You know? Carolina, like that. I don't know. I'd be reaching out to them and saying, hey, you know, is he still unhappy? Do you still want to make a move here? What's going on over there? Like, I know Amik Robertson is available in Detroit, but that's a slot. You know? So, now, I just remember last year J.C. Horn was he kind of wanted out. So, we'll see. I don't know. That was that last offseason, I think, or the offseason before. But they invested more in Bryce, so because he had a decent year, so we'll see what happens. But it's also going to be hard to get a corner at this time of the year because a lot of teams believe they have a shot at their division or whatever. You know? So, I don't know. We have potential compensatory picks next year. 4th round pick, potentially, for Holland. I think that's what it's on the trajectory of a 4th round pick. So, all right, guys, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Do I think X could come back? I wouldn't want X back. That's why it was on my free agent list. We are already seeing the lower body, the hammy, the groin starting to catch up with him. We are already seeing him lose a step, and he's a year removed from football. No. I mean, Deshaun Watson was younger, was removed for football for over a year, and he hasn't looked like the same player ever since. I'm good. You know, I don't want X. He doesn't, I'm sorry. He was slowing down, and he's been out of football for over a year, and he's in his 30s. That's that, and, you know, let alone the text messages he was sending to that girl's son. Just saying. And you kind of want that culture gone. You don't want that around anymore. So, listen, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'll be back on the next one. And when I am, you already know what time it is. I'll bring you the latest breaking news on the Miami Dolphins and everything going on. We got a lot still to surround the draft. So I got some guests coming up and much more. Fins up, smash that like button. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, everyone.